Dela's voice has been made possible by the generosity of sponsors like you. What makes live shows so special is that interaction between the viewer and the host and the guest, whether it's through the chat or the live phone calls. This connection is created because people are allowed to share their experiences, their feelings, their thoughts, and this makes for a beautiful dynamic of energy that's connecting people in so many different ways. And that's how we learn. That's the best way we can help one another, is by connecting at such deep levels. This is Dela Futui, the host of Dela's Voice, hoping to spark your soul. Hello, and welcome to another Dela's Voice Sunday live talk show. I'm so happy to be here and blessed, truly blessed, to have this platform to bring to you inspirational stories of superheroes all around the world. I hope you've been well. I've been away for a while. As many of you know, I've been very much active in the movement of the Iranian Revolution, a movement that is sure going to bring good news, peace, freedom for the people of Iran. And that's what we're hoping for. That's what we're fighting for. And I appreciate every single one of you for the support you give, for everything you do to keep this momentum going. Today I have a special guest with me. So here's a little bit about our beautiful guest today. Her name is Marla Martenson. Since the start of the Iranian Revolution back in September, the Mahsa Amini movement, as many call it, Marla has been supporting Iranians by inspiring them with love, light, and hope. She talks about her time in Iran. She treasures these fond memories, which really warm our aching hearts, as she talks about the beautiful memories of Iran when she was a teenager. So Marla lives in Seattle, and she's a Los Angeles-based matchmaker. Does she live in Seattle? I'd ask that question. I'm confused. No, she's a Los Angeles-based matchmaker. She's a transformational life coach. She's an energy healer and a tarot reader. She's used her intuitive skills to connect singles with their soulmates, the Mystical Matchmaker. That's who she is, the Mystical Matchmaker. Marla's latest memoir, The Magic Seeker, humorously chronicles a year in her world as she balances her life as Cupid and her deep dive into the mystical and magical. She has been featured on so many platforms, and she's here today with us on Dela's Voice. Please help spread this word. If you can, share this on your social media platforms. As you watch this show live today, you can leave us comments, maybe questions for Marla if you have any questions that she can help you with. You can connect with Marla on her website at marlamartenson.com. And thank you for being here with us today. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is Miss Marla Martenson. Hello.
Salam.
Durud
How
Shama.
you doing? Thanks for having me.
It's awesome to have you. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation to be here today.
Yes, we're going to have some fun.
Oh, we will. Marla, I've been watching you for a few months now, since the start of the Iranian Revolution back in September. And I was awed by the effort you put in to support your Iranian fans and followers. And sometimes I would go through the comments and see how you're touching lives, really. And so I was very appreciative of that, because we had a chat before the show, and I said to you, your perspective on Iran and the Iranian culture is one that really puts things into perspective for a lot of people, and you have a kind of a special appreciation excuse me, for the Iranian culture. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? First of all, I totally messed up, where you live and where you where
That's
you
okay. I split my time between Seattle and Los Angeles. My mom's older now, and I grew up in Seattle, so I spend a lot of time up here right now. But I'll be back in LA soon, and so it's kind of both. I have homes in both places. But yeah, I got my start as a matchmaker in Beverly Hills, and so I used to be called the Beverly Hills Matchmaker. My first memoir was called Diary of a Beverly Hills Matchmaker. But as I got into more the spiritual realm and space, I switched that. I'm like, I'm not the Beverly Hills Matchmaker. I moved to the Valley, and I'm the Mystical Matchmaker. So that's
I
how that.
love that. I'm sure there's a really, really unique story behind how you got started. Do
Oh
you
yeah.
mind telling us that story, Marla?
Oh, how I got started in
Yeah,
matchmaking? Sure,
yeah.
sure, sure. So, well, I was always I was an actor for like the first 20 years of my adult life. And I always loved writing, creating, school plays, whatever. When I was in Iran in high school, I was in the dance group. I was a cheerleader. I had to be out there. I'm a Gemini. I'm like very communication is my thing, and creativity. And so I was in Hollywood, doing the TV commercials, modeling, this and that. Restaurant business, of course. I didn't make my living as an actor, so I was working in restaurants and lived in LA and Chicago for the 80s and 90s. And then in 2001, my father, who was living in Orange County, California, he had cancer, terminal cancer. And so I left Chicago. I was in Chicago at the time, acting and all that. And then I moved back to LA, and he died quickly after that. So I got a place in Hollywood, started getting back in the acting scene. And it just was, it was hard to make enough money. And I met my husband at that time, and he had a friend who was, she was taking over the management position at a video dating service. And she says, hey, you can work here and still go on your auditions. And so I did that. It was a video dating service where the people would come in and look at other people's videos. And I was the videographer. I felt like a filmmaker. It was so fun. And I was asking what are you looking for in a man? What are you looking for in a woman? So I was there about a year and a half. And from there, I ended up working at a Beverly Hills matchmaking firm, very high end, like a millionaire matchmaker type. And I was like, you know what? I couldn't do both. So I let go of the acting, and I went full time into the matchmaking, and worked there 7 years in Beverly Hills. And then in late 2009, I left and I started my own matchmaking business. But I didn't let go of the creativity. So I started writing books. So I've written, I think, 6 books and a short story. So I just had to keep sharing. And my books are they're funny and they are real. So I really hold no bars. I tell a lot of personal things about myself, and people are like, wow, I like how you're so raw. But I think if you don't share that, that's how you help other people, is in your story. And so now I have my own service since 2009. I partnered up with my business partner, Fredley. She does the sales for the men and I do the matching. So the matchmaking's very boutique. I can't match everybody. It's the wealthier guys. They want the gorgeous women. So it's very boutique. I have about 10 guys. But the way I got into coaching a few years back is I noticed that a lot of the women, these wonderful, amazing women that I've known for some of them 2 decades, they're still single or they've been in a relationship and they broke up. And I'm like, what is going on here? So I started getting certified in different coaching modalities, and it's because of our childhood wounds. It's because of what we've put in our subconscious. We're not, maybe our father left or our parents got divorced. Maybe we were abused. Maybe we were bullied. There's a myriad of things that could have happened that set us up to think, I don't deserve somebody who's present, or I don't deserve an available man, or I don't deserve to be spoken to with respect. And so I said, okay, we're going to clean this up for them. We're going to get them coached, and then they can be their own matchmaker and find a match. And that's what I'm doing.
So what's the mystical part of this whole matchmaking business? Tell me a little
Okay,
bit.
well, the mystical part is really me, because I'm always been, since a kid, I was always into magic and mystical stuff and going in the forest and, just with nature. And so in my 20s, I got into metaphysics, which was more law of attraction and a lot of like Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer. I went to, Agape Metaphysical Center, very metaphysical. And then as the years went by, well, I have a book called The Buddha Made Me Do It, A Field Guide to Enlightenment. In 2013, me and my friend Julie started, you'll have to read the story. It's very funny, but in short story is we started going all around Los Angeles taking classes in everything from pendulums to energy healing to crystals to mediumship to channeling to, the gamut. And everything I got into, I loved it so much. It was so magical. And I got attuned to an energy healing. It's called Reiki, and went to the master level. And as I started working with the energy, I started opening up and connecting with angels and being able to channel some messages. And then I decided to learn oracle cards and tarot and start slowly giving people messages. I started with $15. I'll give you a reading. I just was practicing, but the magic that came into my life, like, oh my God, this is real. And I've had mystical experiences as a kid, seeing a spirit guide in my bedroom when I was a little girl, and leaving my body, astral projection and different things. And I could feel, like before we started, I could feel this. See, I get the crown opens up. I can feel the guides. I can feel them touch me. So I'm there. And then my husband was like, you got to be careful. You can't, people are going to think you're crazy, especially your high-end men. If you put this on Facebook. And he was embarrassed and he was worried, my family thinks you're crazy. And but I said, you know what? I have to be me. And I have some magic to share. And when I do give my readings, it's like a spiritual coaching, and it helps people. And they email me back, and I save those emails when they say, oh my gosh, thank you. And so I'm not going to, acquiesce to somebody else's discomfort. I had to grow into that. Like, that's okay. If I'm not for you, I'm not for you. If you think I'm weird, that's okay.
Yeah. Thank you. I love that word, acquiesce. And so many of us succumb to that, and because we want to be accepted by other people. And so you totally stood in your ground and said, you know what, this is who I am, and I'm going to share this magic with other people. And you've touched so many lives. I want to know a little bit more about this, because what drove you to look for that? Like, what were you missing in your life, Marla, that drove you towards that path?
Well, I was always okay. So I was always into this kind of stuff, but what really put me off that deep end was my husband and I bought a house. We were married in 2002. We've been together since 2001. In 2011, we bought a house together in the Valley in LA. 2011, I remember he said, hey, there's this Buddha. Somebody had given me a Buddha statue and for a gift to a neighbor. And he says, where's that Buddha? And I think I got rid of it because I was cleaning out stuff, and I don't know why. I was just purging.
You got rid of the Buddha?
I did the little statue. I don't know. Sometimes I get rid of stuff. I go crazy. Like since I've been staying in Seattle a lot, I've gotten rid of 45 bags of stuff in 1 year. I gave to the Goodwill. I'm like, I'm just trying to, yeah, as I get older. So anyway, he's like, where is it? That's my boot. I said, no, it wasn't yours. It was given to me as a gift. He goes, no, it wasn't. So he's like, typical of you, Marla, to just give stuff away and you don't even ask. Well, I didn't say I gave it away. I said, I thought, I'm not copying to that. It's probably in the garage. I think it's in some boxes that we haven't unpacked. Let me check. So I'm like thinking, okay, what can I do? So I get in the car and I drive around to all the spiritual shops I can think, because I think I can replace it. I can buy another one. He'll never know. And so I couldn't find one. And like a few days later, he's like, have you found it in the garage? Did you get it? And I said, no, I'm still looking. And then I thought, oh, okay, so I texted one last place that I hadn't checked in the Valley, a spiritual shop. So I get over there. They didn't have any Buddhas, but they had a flyer, and they have classes once a week for $15 on connecting with your spirit guides, crystals, blah, blah, blah. So I said to my friend Julie, who was into this stuff too, and she's a celebrity ghost writer, and she likes this. I says, hey, Julie. And she goes, oh, Adolfo's going to be so mad. And I said, I know, but you want to take these classes? So she said, sure. So we started taking these classes at a place called the Imagine Center, and the owner and the teacher, Goddess Tahita, she was so freaking magical, just this goddess teaching us about spirit guides. And I was like, oh my God, I want to be like her. And so I took every class she offered, and then crystal healing and all of that. Once there was no more classes to take there, Julie and I started checking out every other class in town, and we went to an Indian like Bhajan, and we went, everything you can think of, and candle magic. And then she says, Marla, you should write a book about our adventures. And so I did.
Buddha made me do it.
Buddha made me do it. So it's nothing about Buddhism. It's that Buddha statue that. And then my husband never found out. The way he found out that I actually gave away the Buddha was when I was on Coast to Coast AM with George Noory, and I had to say, I said it, and he was listening, but it was fine. But I found that everything I stepped into, I started having more mystical experiences, whether it was the astral travel, my third eye opening and seeing things. Then I start doing plant medicine journeys with psilocybin mushrooms to release a lot of trauma, because my husband didn't like this. I've had a hard time admitting this. I might even cry right now, but we split up because of this. Now, it's been 2 years ago I left, and but I still go back. I'm going back to visit. I still go back and visit him. We still have our dog, our house. Who knows? Maybe things could work out. But he's trying to say, no, you can't do this. You have to stop this. And I said, I can't. I have to be me.
You have to do.
Yeah.
Marla, we're going to take a moment and look at the comments, because everybody's leaving us comments and saying hello. And so do you want to say a couple of words in Farsi to all our viewers?
سلام، من مارلا هستم. من در تهران زندگی می‌کردم فقط 6 ماه، ولی من ایران خیلی دوست دارم.
You are awesome. I think you're fantastic. Our viewers are watching from all over the world, Marla. Right now, I have messages from Germany and Iran also, and Vancouver. And I don't know where Omid lives, but he's also watching. Sarah. I know she's complaining that I'm too dark. My camera's too dark. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I had a lighting issue. Forgive me. I'll fix it for next time. So I could say, Marla, just by talking to you for the past few minutes, that you are so open to experiences. This is what I see, right? You're just like, I'm open. Just guide me and give me what you want me to experience. And so I want to ask you to talk a little bit about your experience in Iran and how that played a part in who you became, if at all it did.
Yeah, it did, because I came from a place called Federal Way, Washington, which was, we just had gotten a mall. It was, the fanciest restaurant was Black Angus. It was very just, really not a huge place. But I always had this dreams of living in another place, or, learning other languages. And even when I remember when I was, I think, 2 or 3 years old, I had I don't know why I had a Spanish book. I couldn't read it or anything. So I must have got it somewhere. I had some book, and I would carry it around. And then I came up to my dad once, and I was just started going, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, what? And I said, I'm speaking Spanish. And so I always wanted to be international, ever since I was like 2 or 3. I'm like, no, I'm with all the people. I speak all the languages. So when my dad he worked for Pacific Northwest Bell telephone company, AT&T. And this was in 1978. And he had the opportunity to work for American Bell International, and said, hey, do you want to move to Iran? And we're like, where, what's that? Where's that?
What's that? Where's that? Yeah.
Like, let's look at that. And then so I was super excited, and it was such a big change. And then we get there, and I'd never been out of the country at that point. I was 16. And
what year was this again?
1978 in June. So we go to first, we went to Amsterdam, and we got to pick up. Well, first we had to go to New Jersey and have some training on how to conduct ourselves in Iran, because it's a different culture. So we don't offend people. And, so we learned a little bit, right?
What do you remember from that, Marla?
What?
What do you remember from that?
Oh, gosh. Well, we weren't supposed to speak out about the government, that's for sure, because I was always like, don't speak anything against the Shah or the government, because they could take you away in the middle of the night. We knew that. And so don't say anything like that. Don't use any drugs, be very careful. No, I don't know about alcohol we could drink. I was drinking it at sangria and at restaurants and stuff, but things like that. Dress. Don't, we're not going to be wearing mini skirts or short sleeves. Even though Iran was modern, you couldn't. I remember once walking down the street in a short sleeve, and an older Iranian man was sitting on the sidewalk, spit on the sidewalk, and seeing me. But anyway, so we arrive, and it's just like we're in the bus. It's at night, and we arrive at the airport, and we're taking the bus to our apartment that was waiting for us. And you see Shayad Monument there, and it's just, and the traffic, it's just, incredible. You think LA has bad traffic or something? It's nothing, to Tehran traffic. So we had a 4-bedroom apartment in a Persian neighborhood. It was, a lot of you might know, it was in Armagan Street, Chasteau Armagan, right by Chattanooga Ice Cream, between Jordan and Pahlavi.
Wow.
Right there.
Good memory, Marla.
Yeah. So anyway, we were living above a Persian family it was their apartment, and we integrated, and and that summer I taught a woman got me into teaching English to Persian women, and I got to go to their homes and seeing how different Persian people lived. So I really did it wasn't like I was just with Americans. I really got to go into Persians' homes and be with them and see how they live. And I became friends with a really wonderful gal called Seema, and I would go to her house. And I mean, the hospitality, like I'd arrive at their house, and it's like fruit on the table, even sometimes, do you want to take a nap? I mean, I was offered, like, it's like I'm like, wow, Americans, come to their house, they might offer you something to drink, they might not, it's just, we don't think. And I'm like, this is the way it should be. The guest is really honored and stuff. And so, so anyway, and then I went to high school, which was an American school, but there was some people from other places too. And, we went down to the big bazaar and bought some handiwork, and they took us out to our first cello kebab. They take you out for tea and lunch when you're buying carpets, and just loved the food, and the people were very warm and friendly. And I went to get to see one of the gals that I taught English to. She took me and my mom with her sister to see the crown jewels at the museum one day, and that was amazing. And it was just really those 6 months. It was like it was only 6. We were going to stay 5 years, but the revolution started, and it was Yankee go home. Get out. We had to leave, and I was so sad. It was like that was home. I felt that was really home. I really loved it, and always. So for then when I got back, I did date a Persian guy and stuff, so I learned more Persian. I was pretty good speaking, and then I did study with a professor. And but then I started learning French, and my husband was Mexican, so I was speaking a lot of Spanish. So the Persian, I kind of maintained what I learned, but I need to now. I'm really excited to get it better, fluent. So because I'm planning to come and visit you guys.
Yay.
So,
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, once this is all over and we're victorious, we Iran is going to be a fantastic place. I think it's always is, but we're hoping for better days, Marla. And so it sounds like Iran made an impression on you, and the Iranian culture made an impression on you.
yeah, because I saw like this, like the way we live in America in certain places, it's just very, one way. And you have no idea that, when I was in it, that we had a driver, his name was Mohammed, and he was the company my dad worked for would, he was always had the same driver to go because we didn't have a car, of course. So I remember being in the car with him, and we were in traffic and stopped, and it was like madness. There's people walking in the streets, and this man stuck his arm that was burned. There was no hand on it, just an arm with no hand, and burned, charred, and stuck it in the window. And I'd never seen anything like this. I'd never seen poor people like this, or maimed people, or we didn't even have. Now there's a lot of homeless in America. We didn't have that back then, in the 70s in my small town. And so and then Mohammed was just, he had his change there ready, and he gave the guy a coin, and that was okay, and I was like, okay, and just seeing how the humanity, other people living, their customs, what's going on the other side of the world, because we just don't, I didn't know, anything. So it was really eye-opening, and sad and exciting, and you feel all the emotions, and confusion. You're like, because the customs, like one woman was like, no, you can't listen to pop music, that's bad. Or the other woman's listening to pop music wearing a mini skirt. It was very, back then, eclectic.
Yeah.
You may see a woman under her chador, she's got a Chanel, a mini skirt and boots up past her knees, or
Yeah. Yes. I think that was the beauty of the that what was back then. Uh, the norm was that everybody got to decide what they were comfortable with.
right.
So you were allowed to practice your beliefs, and I think that's really necessary for human
Yeah.
to have that freedom of choice. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, that kind of ties back to what I was talking about with my spiritual awakening. Is I have to choose that. Nobody can tell me it's not, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't, you know, that part's dangerous. Don't channel, whatever. So no, I have to choose.
Yeah, yeah. And when this whole movement started back in September, Marla, first of all, how did you take it? And then we'll go
Well,
from there.
it was interesting because I know there's been some attempts in the past to, get some uh, in the street, people going in the streets, against this, and it didn't stick. But when I saw, first of all, I was so saddened about what happened to Masa Amini. But then when I saw, okay, they're in the streets and they're not gonna, and so I just went on and I thought, oh, because I would love to go back. For 44 years, I wished, I was so sad that this happened, and that what people are going through, and the stories I would hear, and thought, gosh, I wonder if I ever get to go back and visit in my lifetime. So then I thought, oh man, but I just was in my car, and I stopped, and I just did one video saying, hey, I used to live in Iran, and I just want to give you guys solidarity, and just, I gave a little 90 seconds, and that one went like viral, like 50,000, or no, 300,000 views or something. So people said, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then I posted a few little things about pictures of our apartment, or whatever things that we had there. And then post more. This is so cool. Post more. And one guy, it was so interesting. I posted a picture of our apartment on Armagon, and the guy said, oh, that's my dad's car in front of that. We were your neighbors.
Oh,
I was
that's
like, oh my God, and then this was very touching. So I posted a picture of my dad buying something at the Intercontinental Hotel in the gift shop, and he was like, we bought some jewelry and a little miniature framed, and the man who owned the shop was in the shop with him, and I posted that, and one guy wrote, "That's my uncle. He just died," and he saw that. I mean, so it just started, and people starting to say, "Oh, post more, thank you." And so I thought, oh, maybe I'm uplifting them. So I just started to put more, try to bring some kind of light or laughter or whatever. But sometimes I cried on the videos too. But I felt, oh my gosh, this is not only it's horrible what's happening, but it's also beautiful in the way that people are coming together for what they want. They're supporting each other from all corners of the earth, and I've made so many friends. And look, I know you now. I mean, it's like, it's amazing things have happened too. And I know that if that shows the beauty of humanity and how we can help each other. And I know it's going to be free, and it's going to be such an amazing time.
Celebration.
Yes.
When you were getting these messages from all these Iranians across the world saying, Marla, I think I might have messaged you too. Thank you so much for bringing hope and inspiration. What did that mean to you?
Oh my gosh, I'm like tearing up right now. Sometimes I just cried because some people left me voice messages saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because I think they felt that non-Iranians weren't understanding, or didn't know about it, or weren't sharing it, or just couldn't understand. And so they were like, oh my gosh, somebody is seeing this. Somebody knows what we feel. And I'm shocked. I got a lot of messages saying, thank you, and you made my day. And it's really hard here, but when I see your video, I smile or I laugh. And so that just, I was like, oh my gosh, just a little thing. We never know. So that's what is a teacher here, is we never know what can help somebody. You may be walking down the street smiling at somebody. Maybe they just lost their, dog, or they found out they have health issue. You don't know what's going on in someone's life, and just a smile or whatever can switch something for them in that moment. So, yeah, we see that dichotomy of humanity. Those horrible, the mullahs. I mean, that what they can do to stand there and execute somebody, or beat somebody, or I just can't fathom it, that a human can do this. Just to stand there, and then the other people who are, the angels, and helping and just praying. And it's like this, we can't believe that that's what that earth plane is. It's here to learn. It's light and dark, and it's both sides. We can't avoid that, and it's really hard. It's the hardest place to be, is on earth, the earth plane.
Ah, isn't it? I love that. I love how you put that. And I think it's so important because for me personally, I'm Iranian. I am deep into this. And some days I wake up and I have so much anger, Marla, and, and I can't function. And I know a lot of people are like that, especially people who live there amidst all of this turmoil and deal with this pain and the insecurity of and this really anger of losing your child must be devastating to these mothers.
Yeah.
So I can't, sometimes it's really hard for me to step out of this emotional state and look at it and say, well, despite all of this, the world's still a beautiful place. And I know a lot of people would agree. So having a different perspective like yours, um, really is valuable. And for people like you, Marla, who go out of their way and really show up with inspiration and hope and uh, really bring light into this really dark situation, I it doesn't go unnoticed. So I just want to say all of that to say thank you.
Well, a lot of people have said, we won't forget, we don't forget. And then I got a lot of invitations, so many invitations. When this is, come to our house, we'll show you around. You stay with us. You know, I've got lots of them. So
You know that. You know that. Well,
I could go back and look at those messages and take you guys up on it.
of course, you make sure you do, because when this is all done, you go to Iran and you'll have a home in every single town in Iran. You'll
I
get to
know. And
travel all over.
there's this one guy, he's in his 30s. I mean, he could be my son, right? And his name is well, I'm not going to say his name. All right. But anyway, he connected with me, and he's like my brother now. Like, we connect, and he's like, "Hey sis, hey bro," you know, and we talk about what's going on, and I mean, he's in Iran, and we're in touch, and it's like, oh my gosh. So I can't wait to go visit him too. It's
Amazing.
amazing. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's really quite amazing. And I know, Marla, so there, when you show up to support a movement like this, um, you know, you get a lot of pushback, don't you? And I know that you have.
I've gotten some. I got some. At first, I was like, I even made a video about that one. Kind of went viral, and because they're like, "Stop! Why are you doing this? You better stop! Shut your mouth!" Or why? Or they'll say, "Well, why aren't you supporting Syria? Or why are you not supporting this?" Or, and I thought first, I thought, "Oh, what do you mean?" You know, and then some people said, "No, those are the agents of the the Iranian
IRGC.
IRG."
Yes.
Yeah.
We
So,
call them Saiberi.
Cyberi, yeah, these Cyberi. So that's what was happening. So I just learned to block them, and I'd get these I got one message in my inbox that says, "I know exactly who you are," or something like that. Like, you know. And then my mother was like, "I hope they don't come here," you know. And then I was talking to another friend who's Persian, and he's like, "No, they're not gonna. Well, you guys better not come here. I'm just spreading light."
Yeah.
But yeah, you do. But I mean, I think everybody. Do you get messages like that too? Okay, so
Yeah, I get a lot of messages too. And here's what I think is, anytime you stand for something that you believe in, there's going to be people who are going to push, and they're because you are threatening their position and their power. So yes, so they will want to intimidate you, and they want to send messages of you know, hate. And
I have gotten a few comments like they're mad because, oh yeah, you just these white people who want to say, or you American, they took the oil, or they did or their government did this and that, and they just want to take the good parts, or they're, you know, it's like, well, I don't. And I say, I'm just a person who cares and loves Iran, and I want to uplift people. That's all. I don't have any agenda here, and so I just blocked that person too.
oh, good, good. And so this is really interesting, because I mean, we tend, I should say, I tend to be affected by those negative comments.
Yeah.
I mean, more than I should, because during the day, I may get, like, I don't know, like 50 lovely messages from people, and then that one negative comment. And that kind of messes me up, and I really have to remind myself that.
We have and it's their issue. They have anger or pain or hurt from their childhood, and they have nothing better to do than send somebody a nasty message. I have a YouTube channel too, and I did a series with this gal, a friend of mine, Karen, and it was a spiritual series. We had a lot of videos on there, and so we had about 60 of them. And usually, I mean, on my YouTube channel over the years, I've gotten such great comments. This one guy puts, "Oh, it's the two Uggs," like for ugly, you know, the two Uggs. And I just had to laugh. I mean, if you look at most people's YouTubes, even the horrible messages, the trolls we call them, and we just kind of gotta laugh, block, and delete. You know,
Yes.
that's the other side of humanity. I mean, you know,
Yes, and as you said, you can't appreciate the good if in the absence of the bad. You can't appreciate the light in the absence of the darkness. And so,
yeah.
so this is it, right? And uh, so let's just go back to this for a second, because I think that this is really important. And as you mentioned, Saiberi, you've probably heard that name from your Persian fans, and so they come and they leave a comment, and these comments are usually divisive. They're really trolling, and they're really wanting to evoke and provoke. And they, the more we engage in those comments, the
Mhm.
happier they are. Let me
Mhm.
just tell you that. So this is to everyone. So like just to ignore it completely, and yeah, block it if you want. But
I don't leave anything. A lot of people I see on other channels, just in general, they crappy comments. They're there. They leave them there. I don't, because my page. I always think of my Facebook page, my Instagram page is kind of like a vision board, and I only want positivity. And so if people leave a nasty comment, I delete it, and
good for you.
I just do, because I don't like that negativity. I don't want other people seeing that rudeness. And some, they're bad. Hey, they're bad people with their agenda. So, just remember that it's nothing to do with us. It's they want maybe there's extreme Islamic extremists, and they don't want freedom. They're trying to push it down. So it's not us. It's just their agenda, what they want imposing. So we
Yeah.
just got. And I just wanted to say, I think I did a couple videos about this, about like you said, life goes on, and there's a lot of beauty. We can't, because a lot of us can't in the morning crying, or people can't get up or function, or it's just it. And I understand that, but we've got this one life, and we can't be miserable enough. We can't not live enough to make somebody else's life different, right? If that's not going to help them. So just like we can't be poor enough to make somebody else rich. If somebody else is poor, if you're poor, you can't help them. That's not going to help. So we still have to find joy, find beauty. We have families, friends, jobs, whatever. And so being mindful of what's going on, empathizing, and doing what we can, but we have to live this life too.
Yeah. And I appreciate that comment, because that is something that we struggle with every single day. It seems like most days, I mean, in the past 5 months, especially, a lot of people I talk to, they don't allow themselves to enjoy the moments uh, of their life. I mean, we work really hard for the lives that we have made outside of Iran. But I think a lot of us feel guilty to enjoy because of everything we know that Iranians are going through. And
But
yeah,
I mean, there's something going on horrible every single day, every for 100 years, thousands of years somewhere. So we could say that, well, I can't enjoy my life because somebody's suffering,
yeah,
in Mexico or in India, or it's never going to stop. That's what the 3D life is. I believe we have many, many lives. We've been here many lifetimes. So if you're having a good life now, maybe last life you were, in poverty or in a war zone, or murdered or whatever. So it's experiencing every side of it. So go ahead and experience what you're um, lucky enough to experience now. You may have some really hard problems in 10 years. You don't know. So just enjoy your life. And we're praying, we're sending angels, we're doing everything we can to help them. But that's what the 3D is, at the earth plane. And it's hard. I know some of the spirit guides that I've connected with, they're like, it's us, the ones that have come down here to do this, we're the brave ones. Like the other souls who didn't come in a body, they're like, you're going down there, you're brave, oh my God, because we are the warriors. We are really the ones that decided, okay, I'm here for this, I'm going to do this.
yeah, yes, I believe that. Marla, I want to ask you something. So, as an American, you're watching all of this unfold. Um, what are you uh, telling yourself about Iranians who are doing this right now?
Oh my gosh. Well, I've also said this in some videos, how I'm so in awe of these young people, and all the people who are not giving up. They're not going to back down. They're getting what they want. They're so brave, even in the face of maybe getting shot in the street or arrested or whatever the consequences may be. I mean, you guys are the warriors. I mean, you are, it makes me feel like, oh my gosh, I better go for what I want. My dreams don't hold back no matter what, because they're doing that. It's that important. They'd rather die than have to live under that repressive situation. And so I'm just in admiration.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yes, I say that too every single day. These amazing young people who are really risking their lives on these streets for what? For what they believe.
And
And,
that man that walked, what's his name? He just walked to Paris from another country holding that flag that,
oh my
you know,
God, I don't know the name. If any of our viewers know, you know his name, put that in the comment, please.
I'm following him and he's just incredible. I mean, God, you just want to hug him.
It's quite inspiring when, and it just goes to tell you that as human beings we are so powerful when we make up our minds that we want something, and we want it so bad that not having it causes us a lot of discomfort, and that's when we get motivated to actually go for it.
Yeah, and it is pretty. I think about this. I'm like, how are these? And there's other countries that are in the same situation. A small group of people are controlling millions, the masses,
Yes.
and you know, it's in North Korea and different places. I'm like, they if every single person said no, we're not having it, and we storm the people, you know, and they can't do it. But it's very, I mean, I know they have guns and, you know, weapons and all that, but it still kind of blows my mind how the humanity we allow at some point the few to control the many, and we acquiesce to that. And David Icke talks a lot about that. I like his work, and he's always talked about that, how the few acquiesce, the many acquiesce to the few. And I think this is a great example of, like you said, just when we want something, we're not having it, and we are taking it back. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
how dare they could impose that what they want on millions of people.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I think, um, you know, when we get to that point of, some people call it the turning point, where there's nowhere, like no more lower than this that you can go. I mean, there's no worse than this. I mean, there's always worse, but um, that's it. This is as much as I'm taking, and not beyond this. And I think that has happened. There's no way people of Iran are going back to the
No.
way things used to be. They are not going to anymore tolerate this government. And so there's still going to be a lot of painful moments. I think it's not over, but with the support of the world and of one another, the humanity, I'm not counting on governments, Marla,
Mm,
because
yeah.
they've disappointed us over and over again. But it's the people's connection, and it takes someone like you all the way in the States to send a message of hope to someone in Iran who may wake up in the morning and think there's nothing else left to hope for, and watch you and hear your words of inspiration and say, oh my God, someone's hearing me out.
We do. There's not just me. I mean, there's a lot of us who know what's going on. We're thinking about you, praying for you. So people, you're not alone. I know it feels like it over there. They're like, does anybody know what's going on, or does anybody care? And we do care. We do care.
Thank you, Marla. Keep going, please, with these messages, and because I know people count on it. You have a lot of followers who love you and watch
I
you.
wish I could do more. You know, it's like I wish I could do something more. But if everybody just does a little, then it adds up to a lot.
Yeah, that you're right. Everyone is capable of a little, and so all of it together will make a big difference. When you came on the show today, you said you got something, a message, or some
Oh,
kind.
I start.
Yeah.
I
What
just start
was
feeling,
that? I'm
I feel
interested.
the spirit guides around me. You know, I just feel at the crown. It's interesting because you guys, we open up here, the crown chakra. We have 5 main chakras in the body. So this is the crown. And that's where the downloads, the messages drop in. So if you're quiet, if you're meditating and sometimes you get flash of inspiration and message, and that's because we're connected. And so I get the tingling feeling also because I do a lot of energy work, so I can feel it here, and sometimes I feel them touching. So I just felt like the guides are here and the angels are here, and so you don't have to feel alone. Talk to your angels. Everybody has a spirit guide, every single person. And it's just the reason that we can't see them, you say, well, how come you can't, is when you're out of the body, it's a different frequency. We're very dense here in the 3D. So they're at a high frequency. It's so high that you can't see it. But when you start tuning in, you can start feeling things and getting messages and feelings. So, and I love how in Iran, they're kind of going back to the old Persia, the traditions, the language, words of the language. Because I said salam on one of my things, and somebody said, please don't use that word. We say durud. Don't say.
I said durud to you too.
And I had not heard of that, durud. I'd never heard anybody use it before, but I guess that's
you're right. I think we are learning to go back to our roots and learning that what worked back then can work again. And this is I think it's very powerful to go back to the culture that is so dear and so old and so valuable, so treasured.
And we have Nowruz coming soon. So.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And this is going to be a beautiful Nowruz. I'm so hopeful, Marla. Every day I wake up and
I think I'm going to do a half scene at my house. I'll do.
Oh yeah, do it. Yes,
I'll
do
post
it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That would be beautiful. Everybody's saying thank you.
Oh, thanks, you guys. I love you guys.
Yes, and I have a special viewer, Fad. She's always supporting the show by buying stickers whenever we do these shows. So I want to say thank you, Fad, and everyone else who's been watching. I'm just going to quickly say the names of the people that I see have left us comments here. Otherwise, if you haven't left us any comment, I can't see you. Sarah, Farida, Sharam, Ahmad, Omid, Roya. Let me see if I see Betty and Fad. Thank you so much, everybody, for leaving us comments here. Marla, any last words?
Just thank you so much for having me on here. And I never would have thought that one video I did would just go around like that. And thanks for everybody. I'm just love you guys so much. And I'm so honored that you connect with me, send me messages. And I'm overwhelmed and love you guys.
Marla, I want to thank you for everything you do to support the Iranian people. And so this is Marla's website address, marlamartenson.com. Is that correct? Awesome.
That's right. That's it. Okay. Yeah, you can connect with me there.
If you need to connect with Marla, please do that. She's also on Instagram, the Mystical Matchmaker. And yes, and I watched you do a tarot reading the other day.
Oh,
on a live you did.
Live. That was yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah, a couple of days ago.
Yeah, a couple of days.
And so I was telling a friend, I said, I'm gonna have this lady on my show, and she said, oh my god, can she find me a match?
I can teach her how to get her match.
She can teach you, Zara. She can teach you. Amazing. Marla, your books that you said you have 6 of them. Wow.
I have 4 memoir, and this is my latest, The Magic Seeker. So they're all on my website, marlamartenson.com, or on Amazon. And if you want a funny memoir, the first 2 is Diary of a Beverly Hills Matchmaker. The second is Hearts on the Line. Those are more about my matchmaking and funny stories and stuff. A little bit of spirituality, not much. Then I did The Buddha Made Me Do It and The Magic Seeker. So, there's a lot to dig into there. And then I have a short story called Amateur Night. And it's a funny night of when I was a waitress in Chicago and I was single, and all these people would come in and get engaged in engagement rings, and very funny restaurant story. It's 99 cents on Amazon. But if you go to marlamartenson.com, go under books.
They're all there.
Yeah, they're all there. You can get on my newsletter and get a free download of a guided meditation to raise your frequency. And then you'll, just be in the know. I send out a newsletter about once a week, and I have specials on readings and, all of that. So
amazing. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Someone says, "Oh, don't forget your mom." No, I didn't forget my mom, Sarah. I said her name, Farida. She's here too. My mom is visiting her nieces and nephews in Germany right now.
Oh,
But yeah, but she's always watching. She's
she
my
watches.
yeah, she watches. She's my biggest fan.
Oh.
Thank you, Mama. And so, Marla, do you want to say goodbye to everybody and say a few words in Farsi? If you like?
خداحافظ. خیلی خوشبختم. Happy to meet you guys.
خیلی خوشبختم.
Merci. I love you guys.
به زودی زود.
به زودی زود.
به پاینده ایران.
پاینده ایران.
به امید آزادی.
به امید آزادی.
بله.
زن زندگی آزادی.
Yes, women, life, freedom. Zan zindagi azadi. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I want to say thank you to everybody who watched today and left us comments. Your presence here is truly appreciated. I'm so grateful to every single one of you. And I hope to see you very soon. Thanks again, Marla.
Bye.
Have a blessed day.
You too.
Bye. Bye. Oh, stick around so we can chat after the show.
I will.
Okay. Take care, everybody.